What mistake should have killed you? One time when I was young and carefree, I was riding a motorcycle for maybe the second time, like 30 miles per hour, and just had some wires in my brain misfire. I was like, I wonder what would happen if I crossed my arms and held the left handlebar with my right hand, the right with my left. I'll tell you what happened. I just narrowly missed oncoming traffic and smacked right into a wall. I stumbled through a bush which had a 1-meter drop after it where I fell down. I landed on my back at the only place down there which didn't have an iron pole sticking out of the ground. Retentioning a garage door spring and the tension tool popped out. The door crashed with enough force to crack the pavement. Taking on a plus 70 hours a week job just for the money. I hated the job, I hated my boss, and I hated myself. I could not look myself in the mirror anymore. I was this close to a heart attack, gained 60 kilograms and could hardly sleep, but every month plus 12k on the bank account made me get up again and again. My wife said either you quit or I walk, really saved my life. When I was in high school, me and a few friends all lied to our parents and told them we were spending the night at each other's houses. What we had really done was backpacked up a snowy Idaho mountain in the middle of winter without telling anyone where we were going. We were all fairly inexperienced in winter backpacking. The friend in charge of bringing food brought chicken he'd cooked at home so we could eat it cold in case we couldn't start a fire. Luckily I'd brought a can of chili and didn't partake in the chicken. I woke up the following morning to a fresh foot of snow and my friends vomiting out of the tent. We'd left our boots outside and they were completely frozen through. The shoelaces of my boot were pointing up and out and had zero bend. Me and one other friend were not sick and had to pack up the tent. The most freezing cold work I've ever done. I gave one of my sick friends my gloves because he couldn't find his. We were about 3 miles into the hike and the trail we'd taken in was totally covered and none of us were familiar with it enough to know it by memory. I took all but one pack and ran down trail to the car, making my best guess on which way to turn and marking those choices with ski poles. Got to the car, started it up to get it warm and to check if we had cell reception. We didn't. And then I ran back up trail to where they were and we carried them back to the car. I got home and felt like total garbage. My entire body was on fire from the cold and the soreness. I felt freezing to my bones and when I got home I started puking and was pastel white and sickly looking. My dad was at me because I was hungover and I opted for that punishment rather than the insane fury it would have caused if he knew why I was actually in my condition. Dove into a pool and broke my neck at the C2 level, hangman fracture it's called. I was so drunk I thought I just pulled a muscle or something so I kept partying. There's pictures of me with a bag of frozen peas on my neck grilling, taking a shot from an ice luge, etc. all while my neck was broken. Once the disc popped out because I was playing chicken with someone on my shoulders in the same pool hours later, that's when I realized that maybe something was wrong. 1 emergency spinal fusion surgery, 5 days in the hospital, 3 months bedridden, medical discharge from the army, rip that career, and I'm good as new. I totally should be dead or paralyzed. Edit, I also have a pretty gnarly x-ray showing the plate and screws. Here's the link, X-ray C2/C3 fusion, https://imgur.com/hiccuft. Doing heroin alone in my room without letting anybody know. I consider that to almost be a surefire way to accidentally kill yourself due to Vancouver's opioid crisis. I remember waking up with my back on my bed and a needle still in my arm. I was out for half an hour. I woke up feeling terrified and knew that this wasn't a life I wanted anymore. Now I'm a week sober. Might not sound like a lot, but quitting from $100 a day heroin habit to cold turkey meant that I was not a happy camper during my detox, but I stuck it out and I am proud of myself. Being a young, insecure boy on a motorcycle. I remember organizing my room when I was 10 or so. I had a lava lamp on the verge of falling off my cabinet. I didn't notice until I heard a loud shatter on my floor. For some reason my brain thought it would be a good idea to pick up all the shards. I jabbed my foot with a huge piece of glass and passed out from the pain. Woke up in a hospital bed thinking it and realized the shard was gone from my foot, was stitched back up, and getting relieved looks from my family. Turns out when I passed out, I hit my head on the cement floor. I was living in my parents' basement, and cracked my skull partially open and was bleeding profusely. I got taken to the hospital. My family thought I was dead. Persevering face. Passed out in the woods after running from the cops. I was at a party in college and decided I was done, so I started walking home. Got like half a mile from campus when a cop pulled over to talk to me. It was like 3 a.m. and my drunk can't walk in a straight line on the sidewalk. My instant drunk reaction to seeing the blue lights was to bolt into the woods at full speed. Naturally I can't see what obstacles are in my way, so at some point I had tried to either climb a fence or run through thorn bushes. Eventually I ran headfirst into a tree and fell down. I had probably the most absurd thought I've ever had. If I hold my breath, the cops can't see where I am. So I did that and passed out while lying on my back in the woods. I woke up a few hours later as the sun was coming up and realized I had shredded my clothes and my face forward/arms looked like I had been attacked by an animal with all the scratches. The worst one being a vertical cut that went lengthwise down the interior of my forearm, starting at my wrist. This was 12 years ago and I can still see the scar from that particular cut. The rest have healed and faded, but that one is still prominent. Had that been a little deeper, I have no doubt I would have bled out while lying on the ground in the woods, if I didn't already die from alcohol poisoning. There were probably 3 or 4 things that should have killed me that night but didn't. Didn't realize I had 37 tabs open on my phone when I handed it to my wife so she could check the weather forecast.